I would have built confidence way earlier if I knew this, but now that I know, I want to help you learn as well. Welcome to or back to my channel, Self Love Lexi. First, I want to start this video with a quick definition of confidence. This is just from Google. Confidence is a feeling of trust, self-belief, and certainty in one's ability or judgments. I feel like confidence runs so much more deeper than just ability or judgments. I feel like confidence is about who you are as a person. If you lack the moral grounds, for example, let's say you have a huge moral compass, and one day you go against your morals, you're going to feel a lack of confidence within yourself. I believe that confidence runs way deeper than just your abilities or your judgments of life. It is a soul connection that you have with yourself. So that is what I want to start this off. That's the proper definition, but for me, confidence is a connection that I have to myself. If I tell myself, well, this goes into self-trust. If I tell myself I'm going to wake up at 7 a.m. and I don't, I'm losing confidence in myself. As much as you can lose confidence in another person by doing the same thing, we lose so much confidence with ourselves without even realizing it, because we live with ourselves every single day. So a lot of times people aren't actually aware or in their bodies noticing how they're feeling about themselves. When I'm confident, I walk into a room owning my presence. I don't shrink myself. I don't hide myself. I take up space. I speak my mind. I do not dim my light for anybody. I am so strong in myself. I know what I'm capable of. I'm proud of who I am and what I've achieved. I know where I'm going. That's what it feels like to radiate confidence. But I wasn't always confident. When I was a kid, I was one of the most insecure people I've ever met. I was extremely malleable. I didn't have my own ideas or thoughts or theories. If somebody else had a contradictory one to my own, I would completely change my perception just because I wanted that person to like me. I would shrink myself around people. I have been extremely tall pretty much my whole life. And when I was younger, I would literally hide myself because I was so insecure of my height. Not only was I insecure of my height, I was insecure as a whole. I hated myself deeply. Now, I am so confident. In fact, one of the first compliments I get from people who meet me is, wow, you're just like, you radiate, like you're so magnetic. And I always draw it back to confidence, because the reason why they think or perceive me to be magnetic is because the way I carry myself. That's another huge thing with confidence. If you walk into a room and you're slouched and you're looking at your phone, you're unable to make eye contact naturally, the insecurity is shining from you. People pick up energy. It's in our nature, actually. It's instinctual to pick up energy from other people. So, but when you walk into a room with confidence and your head's up and your shoulders back and you're walking strongly with a presence, you know your worth. People notice it and they take it as like, oh damn, like, whew, I see her, I see you. And it's honestly just like an energy switch. Nothing changed in me really except my mindset when I went from super insecure to super confident. Obviously, it's a lot of inner work because I had so much inner work around abandonment wounds, trauma, fear of judgment, fear of being seen. I had to pretty much coach myself. What I coach now, I did that to myself. Rewired my subconscious mind, healing my nervous system, stepping into a new identity, inner child healing, all of these things. So, as you've been waiting for, if I learned this one thing earlier, I would have been so confident. That is your childhood. You were given conditional love, meaning growing up, love was based on performance, achievement, or appearance. For example, let's say you went home and you got a C on your test. All of a sudden you're being screamed at, maybe you're given the cold shoulder, told that you're stupid, you need to try harder. Love was taken away from you. This teaches you as a child that you have to earn love. That's why so many of us as adults, we think our worth comes from things like status, money, achievements, productivity, our looks. That is not true at all. We inherently are worthy. This is, if I could share one message to the world, it would be you are worthy no matter what you do. Obviously, I have a certain set of standard for myself. I think we should all strive for excellence all the time. We should all want to be at our most healthiest, bodies, the most abundant selves. We should all strive towards that. But just because you're lacking something right now does not mean you're not worthy of love. It doesn't mean you aren't worthy of those things. We're all worthy of those things. So for myself, I was programmed to believe that love was conditional and I was unworthy of love. For me, this was a huge abandonment wound because my father abandoned me when I was super young. I remember telling myself, if my own father couldn't love me, how could I love me? Now imagine that mantra being repeated and repeated and repeated as a kid. That's going directly into my subconscious mind, an ingrained identity and belief. And so I'd show up in reality hiding myself from love or putting myself on display to feel love because I didn't feel worthy of love, but I deeply, deeply wanted love. I became so cold in my life because I was protecting myself from being hurt. I became so cold emotionally that it would manifest physically. For example, when I was a little kid, all kids need affection. We are born in this world, rays of freaking sunshine. Yeah, we cry because we have needs, but we are born with love. We love. That's what we're born as. We look into our mom's eyes filled with love, and our eyes, I don't even know how to explain this. I was talking to my mom about this the other day, that we were all born just wanting to be loved, understood, and seen. And if you felt like you lacked any of these as a child, it is going to directly reflect how you see yourself, how you interact with others in the future. That's the big thing with confidence. And one thing about confidence is if you have the audacity, the confidence, you can get anything you want in life. There's so many people who are qualified for roles of a job, qualified for whatever, but they don't have the confidence to actually go and get it, versus somebody who's not qualified whatsoever has the audacity, the confidence to go after their goals. They're the ones who end up with the goals, not the person who's extremely qualified person for it. The person who has the audacity to go and get it, that is the person who gets what they want in life. Okay, so that is, I should have prefaced this, but that's why confidence is so freaking important. You need confidence in life to go after any goal that you want. You have to have that confidence. Okay, anyways, going back to it, if you were taught that love was conditional growing up, you now experience that within yourself. So if I, for example, miss the gym one day, all of a sudden I'm not performing as well, so I punish myself. Excuse me. I literally used to do this. It was so bad. If I ate a cake, when I was young, I had an eating disorder and I was extremely, extremely harsh on myself. If I had a piece of cake for the next day, I wasn't allowed to eat breakfast, or I'd have to walk like an extra hour. Or I would walk until I burned all the damn calories from that cake off. Not in a loving way, extremely intense. In fact, I would scream at myself. I'd punch myself. I'm telling you, it was insane. That was the conditional love I gave myself. When I was doing really good and eating super healthy, not having any snacks, it wasn't self-love, to be honest, but I would give myself better treatment than if I wasn't. So if you were given conditional love as a child, you are way more likely to give yourself conditional love as an adult. And that love that you give yourself directly reflects on the confidence that you have day to day. If you tell yourself, oh my gosh, you are so annoying, I hate you, why do you look like this? Why do you think like this? You're so dumb. Do you think you're going to show up as a confident person or even be confident in yourself? Absolutely not. If you were surrounded by one family member who was extremely down on you, no matter what put you down, would you feel confident in their presence? Probably not, because they make it their entire mission to make you feel like crap about yourself. But most of the times, we end up being those people. We end up being that person who puts us down all the time. We cannot live like this anymore, ladies. We have to own ourselves. We have to love ourselves. Step into the confident person, because look, everybody, I'm not going to say everybody does this, but there will be people, no matter who you are, what you look like, that will hate you solely because they hate themselves. We have to create a safe space within ourselves. Or your mind and your body is a garden. You have to water it. You have to nourish it. You have to make sure it has the right amount of sunlight. You have to take care of it. You have to feed it. You have to feed it love. Feed it love and light. I speak to myself like my best friend because I am. You want to know why I'm so confident? It's because 5 seconds before this, I was telling myself, oh, you go, girl. You look so good. I'm so proud of you. I love you so much. That's what I say to myself. If you're like, Alexis, I have been given conditional love my whole life. I genuinely don't know what unconditional love feels like. I have been in the same position. It felt like I wasn't given conditional love. Now I know my mom and I have a great relationship. It was unconditional love, but it felt like it wasn't. And honestly, we are emotional beings who rationalize. So the feeling is much more important than logical. You can logically know that you are loved, but if you don't feel it, it's not going to mean anything. You know, it's genuinely not going to mean anything for you. So here are a few tips as somebody who used to literally hate myself and give myself punishment after punishment and conditional love. Now I give myself unconditional love, I need to share it with you. I literally just had such a funny moment that happened right now that I have to share. I have the app called Opal, not sponsored. It cuts off my social media at a certain time, and so as I'm recording this, it cut off my camera. In that moment, I drank a sip of coffee and I spilled it all over me. When I would do that as a kid, I would call myself stupid. You're so dumb. Why'd you do that? Oh my gosh. My immediate response now was, it's okay, Alexis. When I tell you I speak to myself like I love myself, like my best friend, like I'm speaking to my inner child, it's true because I now feel safe in my body to make mistakes. I'm human. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect all the time. But imagine being, okay, a lot of women and men have grown up with a mother specifically that was very judgmental. I know I did. I love you, Mom. Most of the time, it was very judgmental. And so I found that I kind of took the way she spoke to herself and me, and I started to speak myself that way. So I was extremely judgmental of myself and others. Now, I don't judge myself at all. I make mistakes. But I can say to myself, I can laugh at myself, and I can say, girl, like, it's okay, I still love you. Even if I just spilled this, because I used to live in a house where things like that would turn into blow-ups, genuinely blow-ups. So when you can create that safety in yourself and in your life will literally change. That is why I do what I do, because my life changed when I started to speak to myself and fill myself up with love, unconditional love. So that is the first thing. Watch how you speak to yourself. I know a lot of people preach that your thoughts are extremely important, and guess what? I'm going to be another person who's going to do that too. Your thoughts are so important. How you speak to yourself, how you see yourself will literally change the trajectory of your life. And I have a little example or a little soul work for you. Next time you're walking in public, I want you to make a mental note and ask yourself, how would I walk if I was the most confident version of myself right now? And if you're a little too uncomfortable to do it in public, maybe in your room alone, ask yourself, how would I walk if I was so confident? Watch your body language naturally change. We know what it's like to be confident. We know in our soul what it's like to have purpose and step with love and authority and magnetism. We know what it feels like, but we suppress it, or we've been suppressed. So when you can call that power back, being like, how can I walk the most confidently right now? You naturally will start to, your shoulders will go back, your head will go up, you'll start walking probably slower and harder. Your steps will be more intentional. There's so much rhythm with carrying yourself with grace and confidence. It's honestly an art. It's a lost art, carrying yourself with confidence. So that's one way, is speaking to yourself. The next way is giving yourself unconditional love the way you would want to as a child. And if you're like, girl, I don't even know what that looks like. Seriously, I understand. Trust me, I understand. A great way to start practicing this is in moments when you would normally get mad at yourself, judge yourself, call yourself slow, fat, stupid. Instead, bring a level of compassion into your life. Prime example, this cup. When I spilt my coffee, I could have been like, oh my God, Alexis, you're so stupid for that. But I primed my brain to laugh about it and be like, you're so silly. I love you. That's just how I speak to myself. So in those moments, silly moments where you normally get upset, instead bring compassion and love into your life. that is all I have for today. If you know you have a broken relationship with yourself, but you aren't necessarily sure where and what aspects and how to tweak it, I have a free self-relationship audit in the link of my bio. It'll take you through a multitude of questions based on the mind, body, and soul, and it's in a Likert scale, so you're answering questions from 1 to 10. At the end, you'll tally it up between mind, body, and soul, so you can really focus on and see where you're missing that love, the unconditional love with yourself. At the very end of this, there's 3 journal prompts to dive you super deep into this awareness, because awareness is what creates change. Love yourself as much as I love you. Mwah.